Are you familiar with the phrase can't hold water when talking about somebody who has a secret, but they blab it to the world because they can't hold it in? I think that's what the Trump did yesterday about two things. One, he later on said outright he was going to do. And two, I think when he talked about it, he was laughing, but I really think he was hinting that he would resort to doing this second action if he felt he was losing control over the country. Let's talk about that one, the first one he said he's going to outright do. Now, yesterday was Monday, August 18th, 2025, and the Trump hosted Ukrainian President Zelensky and other EU leaders at the White House. Following the meeting, Zelensky and Trump were still at the White House, and they were answering questions from the press. Well, during this question and answer session, Trump starts talking about mail-in voting and that, well, that's corrupt. And it's pretty convenient that he started talking about that because, you see, he referred to his meeting last Friday, August 15th, 2025, with Russian leader Putin in Alaska. And Trump stated that during that meeting, Putin said the same thing about mail-in voting, that is corrupt. And that Putin told Trump about the problems with mail-in voting. Well, see, the Trump listens to his daddy. So he starts talking about the problems with mail-in voting, according to Putin. And Trump stated that Putin told him three things as far as the problems with mail-in voting. Before I get to them, remember this. Russia is often criticized for not having fair and free elections. Remember that part. Here's those three things that, according to Trump, Putin said is wrong with mail-in voting. 1, your election was rigged because of mail-in voting. Now, the Trump didn't state which election. Do you think he was referring to the 2024 presidential election? And if he was, did he just admit that it was rigged? What do you all think about that? 2, the second thing that Putin said is wrong with mail-in voting is it's impossible to have mail-in voting in an honest election. Remember, Russia's known for not having fair and free elections. So, are they a good source about talking about honest elections? What do you think? And do you think that we can't have an honest election with mail-in voting? Or is it only when Trump's involved? What do you think? And then 3, no other country has mail-in voting. Now, that's an outright lie, because Canada and Britain, the United Kingdom, they have mail-in voting. So, Trump takes to social media, his Truth Social, because he loves him some social media posting. And he posts that he's going to do an executive order banning vote by mail. So he said he's going to do it. He added that states are merely an agent for the federal government in counting the votes. He also added that the states must do what the president tells them to do. And this part he put in all caps. For the good of our country. Yes. Now, Matt Wheel, he's vice president of the Bipartisan Policy Center. He said it's in the Constitution that the states set the times, places, and manners of elections, and that only Congress can change that. Now, if these past 8 months have taught us anything, our current Congress, they're going to do whatever their daddy, the Trump, tells them to do. So if he says get rid of vote by mail, we're going to get rid of vote by mail. Now, I also want to point out in the article that I read, and I'm going to put the article in the first comment, they talked about Florida and their governor DeSantis there. You see, he doesn't really like mail-in voting either. In 2020, Florida had 4.3 million mail-in votes for the presidential election. But just last year in 2024, they only had 3 million mail-in votes during the presidential election because DeSantis has signed so many laws into effect between that time frame that made it harder to do mail-in votes in Florida. Now, that other thing that Trump, I think, hinted that he would do if necessary, During the question and answer session, the press asked Zelensky, about why it was so hard to have elections during wartime. And Zelensky gave a lengthy answer that basically you have to do so many additional security measures. Okay. So, and I'm going to read this because I'm going to read it word for word, a direct quote from the Trump. And remember this, when he's saying this, he's laughing. Quote, so you're saying if we happen to be in a war with somebody, no more elections? End of the quote. So to me, he's hinting that if he has to, he will get America in a war. So there's no more elections, that he can stay in power. What do you all think? And you see, I think he's hinting at that because I think some discussions have been made about making that happen. Because the gerrymandering efforts by the Republicans, well, they didn't go as smoothly, as quickly and easily as they thought. Democrats have finally started to stand up and do whatever they needed to do to put a little monkey wrench here and there in the stuff. So now they're talking about a war. Well, I shouldn't say they're talking about it, but in my opinion, I think that Trump is hinting that talks have been made about that. Basically, they're going to try to find whatever method they can to either rig, see what I did there, the elections, or just not have them outright. What do you all think? Let me know in the comments. And let me end the video with my 3 reminders, because today is the day. It's August 19th, 2025. The House subpoena for those documents. You know which ones I'm talking about. Well, those documents are supposed to be released by today. Do you think we'll see them? I don't think so. But let's keep the pressure on the 47th administration, on the Trump, to release those documents. I mean, the Trump did promise that on the campaign trail last year. And Attorney General Pam Bondi said she had them on her desk and that she would release them. Then she says, no, it wasn't those documents. It was other documents. BS. Oh, and then she said, oh, and there's no client list. BS. That's just my opinion. What do you all think? 2, blackout the system will be September 16th through the 20th, 2025. If you have questions about that, please visit their website, blackoutthesystem.com. And 3, keep your eyes on the prize. The prize is the White House and democracy in America. Do not get distracted by the foolishness, mayhem, debauchery, and lies coming out of the 47th administration. Now, if you like this video or if you learned anything, please hit that follow button, as that helps me out immensely. And as always, thank you for having spent a little time with me and watch this video. And have a great day.